Hey Terraformers, it's Andrew Brown and welcome back to another video. You can see I already have my Gitpod open, but we need to create ourselves a new branch. I was having some issues with Gitpod, so I started doing this, and so I just didn't want to delete everything, and so I just have to walk you a little bit through it. I think at this point you're very familiar with the process here, but I've made a new issue here called Terratown Test because we're going to test our custom provider against the real Terratowns. So you will have to have a Terratowns account. You can see I'm here in the admin. This is not something you would actually normally see, but I'll go over here. And what you can see is there is a new town called Missing Go, and this is a random town for testing your homes. At this stage, this is where I want you to be testing them. The name of this town is up here, called Missing Go. And once you have this issue, let's go ahead and make that branch, open that branch as we normally would, and we will be here in Gitpod ready to get going. So there are a couple things that we're going to need to configure in order to utilize the actual terratowns.cloud. We need to change our endpoint. So the endpoint needs to be HTTPS, and it's going to be Terratowns. Whoops. It's going to be terratowns.cloud, and we don't need a a port number on that because it's going to default to 443, which is what HTTPS will do. There's the user ID and token, so your user ID is going to come from your Exam Pro account, so that is something we'll go grab. So I'll be back in just 2 seconds. So here I am in my Exam Pro account. In the top right corner, we have the user UID, so you need to grab your own. Do not use mine. I'll have to invalidate my own just to make sure that nobody is abusing mine. But that is going to go into the user UID section here. The other thing is you will get a token generated out for you. This will be through the Exam Pro platform. Right now, it's not showing up because I don't have it distributed, but it will show up in this page. You'll click through, and it'll be your access token for Terratowns. So hopefully that will be clear. I might make a small little video before this one to show how to get that because I don't have it at this point in time. But what we do have is an access code, and so I'm grabbing this off screen. Please don't attempt to use my access code. I know I will have to invalidate it, but just in case, for whatever reason, there's a period of time where someone sees this video and it's non-validated, please do not utilize my keys. If you utilize my keys, you will be out of the boot camp. You will not get graded. You'll be in big trouble. So, just respect these and do not muck with them, okay? So I have my user ID and token set. So those are the values that I need set. This is pretty much it. And the other thing is I need to switch this over to the correct town. So we're going to go here. I'm going to go to Missing Go and say paste, and I will save this. And the thing is, like, this domain name is not an actual proper domain name. It just goes to somewhere, like nowhere, but that's okay. We just want to make sure that in this condition or state that it will do what we think it's going to do. So what I'm going to do is type in clear, and I want to now set this up. So first we need to do a bin build to build out our custom provider. That's step one. Okay, we'll give it a moment. I'll be back here when it's done building. The first time it builds is always very slow. All right, so that has now finished building here. So the next thing we are going to do is we're going to do Terraform init. And then we'll do our Terraform apply. And we are going to carefully look at what is going on here. So everything looks okay. And we obviously still have our debug mode turned on. So we get all this interesting debug information. And so hopefully this is just going to work. It really is dependent on whether our mock API is the same as the server API. And I think I did a really good job to make them one-to-one. But if they're not, we're going to find out pretty fast here. But let's go ahead and hit yes for enter. And it says it's created the resource. And so that indicates to me that it's in good working order. I'm going to go over here and refresh on Missing Go. And here we can see the actual repo here. Now, I'm not sure why the name's not showing up. That seems like a small issue. I think that this account doesn't have a name set up, so oh no, my name's right there. So, I mean, that's a minor issue, but I can get that fixed. Why the name's not showing up, I'll resolve that. But anyway, yeah, it's interesting. My name's here, but not over there. But anyway, the point is that if we click into this, this does not go to anywhere because this is not an actual CloudFront instance. This is actually served up in an iframe. And normally you have to pass in iframe headers, but I think that we might not have to do anything. So the question will be, when we do use our real infrastructure, will this work, or will we have to pass custom headers or headers through CloudFront or from CloudFront or S3? Anyway, do something to make it work, but we'll find out here. So now that that has worked, the next thing I want to do is I want to tear this down because we actually want to set this up with our real infrastructure, and the domain name cannot be updated because that was by design. If you have a domain name change, then you really are doing a total teardown and a create. At least that was my decision so far. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say terraform destroy or tf destroy, auto approve. And I'm going to go back over to here, click the Terratowns, and so now there's nothing in here. The missing go one is gone. Okay, so let's hook this up for real. What we're going to do is take out the old domain and put this new one in here. I'm going to leave missing go here for the time being. And I mean, again, we're hard coding these values here. We could be passing these in as envars. I'm not sure about providers. I can't remember if providers are allowed to pass vars in that way. And also, like, these are kind of sensitive information, so maybe that's not the best way to pass them in. So maybe that's something we can try out here. Is I'm going to go to my Terraform env examples. You don't really want to store the token in here. The user ID is fine, so we'll go here and say teacher seat user UID. I'm putting this in the example. I'm just hard coding my value in here because, well, maybe you shouldn't do that, because if someone finds your repo, maybe that's just another piece of information that can cause an issue. So I'm going to go over here, and I mean, we can set them in here as well. I don't want to constantly, well, I do have it up here though. User UID I do have up here. Do we use that for anything? We do. Yeah, maybe we'll leave the user UID in there. That's fine. I think actually it's okay. And I'm going to go here and say, if you're concerned about it, what you can do is you can set it as an environment variable. For the token, we're definitely going to do that. So I'm going to say var and just say user UID. And I think that we can do that. If not, we're going to find out pretty soon. So that's one of them. And then we can just say Terratowns endpoint here. And this one will be HTTPS. Go grab this address here. And I'm going to go ahead and paste this in. I'm going to go ahead and grab these two values here, copy. I'm going to go ahead and paste them into my example as well. Notice we're not putting the access token in here. That's not something we want to do. So in order for variables to be loaded into here, I believe there's a convention where if you start it with tf underscore or maybe tf underscore var, it'll allow us to pass them in. Let's go ask ChatGPT. How do I pass, or how do I set Terraform variables via envars? I think it's tf underscore var underscore and then the name of what you want it to be. It is. Okay. And so that's what we're going to do. The other question is, yeah, lowercase. That was the next question I had, was do we have to lowercase the rest? So what we are going to do is set that. And so I'm going to say down here, I'm going to go export tf underscore var underscore, we'll say Terratowns token, like access token, because that's what it is. And then I'm going to copy the contents of this token. I'm going to paste this in here and hit enter. TF var Terratowns access token. We're going to hit enter. I'm going to go back and do a GP env like this. Okay. And yeah, that should set it for later. And so now I should be able to grab this here and say var Terratowns access token. It's probably a good idea to do that with the user UID as well. I'm kind of tempted to do it. Maybe we should just do it for good practice. Like, it's not super sensitive, but you know, maybe we can just improve these things here. So I'll just say it's not Terratown. This is actually teacher seat. So teacher seat user UUID equals, and I'm going to grab this value here. Copy. Now, of course, in our Git history, the older ones will appear, but you know, again, I'm not that worried about it. And then I'll say GP-env here. And so now what I can do is say teacher seat user UID. We do utilize this somewhere else, the user UID. I think it is here. So this one will have to get changed to teacher seat user UID, and that will solve that issue. And so I think this will work. I'm going to take this part out, this one, and this one. Okay. And so now the next thing I want to do, well, maybe I'll just do a quick test with these changes before we go roll out the bigger stuff. So I'm going to go back here and just do something like this, CloudFront.net, because I wanted to see if this works. Sometimes you can't use variables and things in certain places, so I just want to be careful with that. We'll go ahead and type in clear. And I want to do TF init. We don't need to do init, but I'm doing it anyway. TF apply. It says it doesn't know what user UID is. That's because these are defined in the variables TF here. So this will have to be changed to teacher seat user UID, and then we need one for the we need one for the Terratowns access token, and these are UUIDs, so we could technically validate these two here if we wanted to. I'm not really that worried about it. So we'll go TF apply, and it's, oh, okay, so it's not asking for value of undeclared variable. The root module does not declare the endpoint Terratowns, but was found in the TF vars. Oh, sorry, you know what? We said we were going to replace this and say var Terratowns endpoint. I think that's what we said. And so we'll need a variable for that as well. Okay. I will save that. I'm just going to stop that there and type in clear. And we'll try this again, TF apply. Okay. We'll go ahead and type in yes. Do you want to perform these actions? Yes, because I just wanted to see if those variables would work here. I just had a feeling that there might be an issue there. There's no issue there. We're going to do a destroy, auto approve. It's very fast because we're not using our infrastructure yet. And so now we're in good shape, and that was a good refactor and I think improved our security, so that is good. I'm going to go here and I'm going to take this one out here. So we're now bringing back the old infrastructure. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm still publishing this to Missing Go because, you know, I want to make sure that it's in good working order before I publish it to the correct location. But we have town Missing Go and Terratowns, home, that's good. The CloudFront URL is set, so everything else should be fine. I'm going to do TF init just in case it's not aware of some of our stuff. I believe that we had to change some of our outputs here. So I'm going to go here and just change some of these things. It would be cool if Terratowns gave us back the address of our project or our resource, because it does give us a unique UUID. But we didn't set up any kind of outputs in our module there, or our custom provider. So I'm not 100% sure how we would do that. I didn't even think about that for like when you go and look at a resource, Terraform providers here. Let's say we wanted to grab a value. So we go to Azure. Doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to find an example of anything. I know, well, I'll go to AWS because we're using AWS. No reason to make things complicated, but let's say we go to anything like app config, and there are attribute references. So these are the resource exports of the following attributes. So the idea is that these are accessible, but the question is like, we didn't implement that in the custom provider, so could we even access them? I don't know. I'm not really worried about it, but it would be nice to have that value here in case you wanted to know what it is was for some reason. But, maybe we'll do that in a future video, or we won't. We'll see. Anyway, now that we're ready here, I'm going to go ahead and do Terraform apply, and we're going to review. And we do have an argument here. Assets path is required, no definition found. This is actually a code trap from week 0. And I did talk about it in the office hours, but if you are still having this issue, then you still have that code trap in there. This is just to make sure people are doing the work correctly. So here I need a / on the end of the assets. That is definitely part of the code trap. The other part of it is that it's supposed to pass an assets path because that's what it's asking for. It's saying, hey, I'm expecting this and it's not there. So we'll say assets path here as such. I'm going to type in clear. I'm going to go and try TF apply. We'll give it a moment. And I'm just going to make myself a bit smaller here. I keep forgetting I'm covering the screen. And we'll go ahead and type in yes. Okay, and now we'll wait for this to complete. And we have an error. That's not great. I don't like having errors. If we'll go here, it says creating the S3 bucket. The requested bucket is not available. The bucket name already is shared by all users of the system. Please select a different name and try again. And this has to do with the fact that maybe the infrastructure is there and I can't use that name anymore, but just give me a moment. We'll log into AWS and see what's going on. All right, so I'm inside my account. It looks a little bit different than usual. I think maybe it just has to do with my screen here, but this is weird looking. But yeah, AWS is always changing things on me. What I want to do is I want to make my way over to S3 because it says the bucket already exists. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to go over to CloudFront and take a look over here. Because I'm thinking that it's there, but it's not. It just says the S3 bucket is taken. Did somebody take my bucket name? Boot campers. Let's go take a look and see what the issue is. So my bucket name is supposed to be this. And yeah, I'm just thinking about this for a moment. So because that was a random value that I created. So there must have been boot campers that copied that. They had to have copied that. And unless I have the bucket and I didn't delete it, maybe it's my fault. Yeah, a boot camper took my bucket. So the thing with the bucket names is that they're supposed to be unique, and that's totally fine. I think that what we'll do here, so I'm just trying to think about this. If I remove if there is no bucket name provided, then S3 will actually provide a random bucket, but it's specified in our module to be there, so it might complain. So the question is, should we change it so that a random bucket name is generated? And I think that's kind of what I want to do. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to take out the bucket name here, and then we'll take out the bucket name here, and we'll go over to outputs, because I don't know if we need bucket name in there. I mean, we have that. That's totally fine. So we took out the bucket name in there, and then we're going to go into our modules, and we're going to go into CDN, and I'm looking for the bucket name for storage, and I'm just going to comment this out. So we want to assign a random bucket name. So that's step number 1. So that will be good for us because then we don't ever have to worry about running into a conflict there. The next part to this is that we need to update our variables. So I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to comment this out. It was great to have this validations, but it's going to be easier not having that bucket name in there anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and say Terraform apply. And I just know you can have a empty bucket name. Let's see here. Origin access controls for static website var bucket name. So we'll have to update our resource CDN. So we'll go over here onto line 6. And instead of doing var bucket name, we will just grab the bucket name as we normally would. I know that we have outputs here, so we might be able to grab it that way. So we can say AWS S3 bucket website bucket dot bucket, and that will get us the actual bucket name. I think so, yeah. And so that will resolve that issue there. So we'll try this again. Terraform apply, and it still has a problem. Line 5 for the CDN. Did we not just change that? Oh, it's up here as well. Okay, so I'll go here and copy this and paste this. And I'll go and try Terraform apply again. And now it's on line 26. Of course it is, line 26. And we'll go here and try this here and hit up. I almost kind of want to set a locals for this because I'm kind of getting tired of typing this long name. I wonder if we could do that. I'm going to just try this really quickly here. So I'm going to go to the top. I don't know if you can do that. Can you assign a local variable from a var in Terraform? Tell me, ChatGPT, can I do that? Okay, well, I think I'll do that because I'm getting kind of tired of typing that over and over again. Oh, but that's not a var. That's not a var. That's an output from another. No, I don't think so because these things are computed, right? So if that value is computed, I think you can't do that. This is more like static, right? So I don't think that's going to work. Sorry. I was like, I'll take that, dump it there, make it more convenient. But this is why I talk about like I really prefer if these names were simpler, like default, because I get really tired of typing like website bucket. If they all just were default like this one, that'd be nicer. Maybe we'll do a rename for our own more convenient convention. But anyway, I'm going to go and just update that in all places. I think it's all updated now. Line 26 is now updated. I hope that was the last one. We'll go Terraform apply. And we'll wait just a moment. And we have a spelling mistake on line 26. You got to be really careful here. We'll go ahead and try this again. I'm doing apply because, you know, I don't feel like doing a plan and then apply. And I just want to show you something here that if we go look at the bucket, where are you, bucket? You're somewhere here. The website bucket, we're going to get the bucket name and notice that, not domain name bucket, it'll tell us afterwards, known after apply. That's just the one thing I wanted to point out. We'll go ahead and type yes. Fingers crossed that this works. I'll see you back whether this does or does not work in a moment, okay? All right, so after waiting a little while, it looks like we are in better shape here. And I just stood up and I'm like a little bit lightheaded. I don't know why, but anyway, yeah, our stuff is deployed. So the question is it working? We'll go over to Terratowns and we'll give it a refresh. And missing go is at the top because that's the one that has one. And yeah, the name's still not there. I'll work on that. But we'll click into here and you can see my page is loading. So we're in good shape. So it looks like we're all hooked up and you can now go make your pages. So we're going to have a lot of fun trying to make our pages. I'm going to try to make an asset kit and make some pages here as examples. I'd love to see some creativity here. But I just want to say that there are a few other things that we do want to do. So obviously I'm deployed in Missing Go. We want to get our pages to the correct locations. We might want to show how to deploy more than one page and how we're going to do updates. For Terraform Cloud, I think we'll go back over there and do a bit of work with that because I forgot, but there's a feature with Terraform Cloud that allows you to execute locally, and we want to see if we can integrate this with Terraform Cloud. So those will be our next steps, but let's go ahead and, well, I don't want to lose the state. Well, I'm going to tear this down because this isn't really where I want it to be right now, but I'm going to tear down this. Okay. And then in the next video, we will focus on getting this back with Terraform Cloud and working on revisions of our code here, okay? So this is going to tear down. I'll be back here in just a moment. All right, so we tore down our infrastructure there. We're going to go over here on the left-hand side. Just do a quick review of our stuff. Looking good, okay. This is 52. Test Terratowns against test our Terra house or Terra home. That's what it really should be called. I called it Terra houses earlier. Terra home on Terratowns test town. There we go. We'll go ahead and commit. I'm going to sync these changes. We're going to make our way over to our pull requests. We're going to make a new pull request. We're going to drop this down, go all the way to the ground. 52 Terratowns, test town, whichever one your number is, it's what it is, it doesn't matter. We'll create this pull request. We will create this pull request. We'll wait a moment. We will squash and merge. We'll confirm squash and merge. This will be squashed. We're going to go back over to here. We're going to do git checkout main, git pull. And the other part to this is I want to, what do I want to do? Git pull. I want to tag, right? So we'll go over to our git graph here. And our last tag was 2.40. So I'm going to do git pull. I just want to make sure I pulled here. Git tag 2.5.0. We'll do git push tags. And that will be now pushed. So there we go. I'll stop this workspace and I'll see you in the next one, okay?